know that we have this workshop coming up in.
This will be the 16th and 17th June in Gothenburg, Sweden. And that will be the new ACT Institute. ACT Institutet actually is the name. ACT Institutet Sweden. So we have it in Swedish and in English in the same name. And we are going to do it a kind of retreat, actually. It's a beautiful landscape in the middle of the city, actually.
Yes, I've visited you there at your place, and I'm very much looking forward to this. And I think that this kind of workshop is a chance for us to sort of settle in around the kinds of conversations that, you know, people in medicine and people in psychology need to settle in more deeply, and need to explore sort of the edges of that interface.
I will go in to share part of the model of active body, where the body stands for the different processes in ACT, how we embody them. The B will be balance, how we embody the mindfulness, working with balance and strength in the body. The O is openness, acceptance, and diffusion. And the D will be the dynamic stamina. That's the movement of the values and the commitment when we move. And the Y stands for your way to move. So we are going to cut this and finish probably each day with a more embodied ACT and how to use it without needing to talk, experience the processes in movement. That's my part of contribution, I thought.
Well, there's a couple of pieces in what you said that really strike me. Is that there's the sort of siloing of psychology and body separately makes so little sense. And when I think about my time on the yoga mat, you know, one of the things that you just said that really struck me was your movement, you know, your way to move. And one of the things I talk to people about is find your practice. And so that, you know, when you're at the yoga studio, it means not the way the pose looks practiced by the person on the mat next to you, but, you know, your own, you know, you got to meet the practice where you are.
Exactly.
Physical flexibility and sort of find your own place in that. And that sort of finding your place, finding your movement is a psychological process also. There's no like two separate ones, you know, because, you know, as I start to sort of stretch into this pose, well, how do I know if it's the right one? It's not like my muscles can tell themselves, you know, like, am I pressing too far? It's me as a whole person with muscles and connective tissues and the particular history of using them and not using them that I have, all, you know, together in that moment. Together we find our practice, you know, in this stretch, in this moment, with this history, with this body. That is a psychological thing, finding your practice. And I find that when I talk to people about ACT, I talk about find your practice. In a certain way, that find your practice piece that, you know, I found in yoga, it is so obviously applicable, although I didn't really have language for it in psychological practices. So if you go out in the world and you're kind of doing, you know, this and doing that, and you're interacting, and you run into that person who has those qualities that make you, you know, and you can feel that kind of inflexibility, well, that's the place to find your practice also, you know. And so, you know, where should I practice acceptance? You know, where might I practice, you know, entering the present moment? Well, it's precisely in those kind of particular inflexibilities, and you're not going to be able to look to the person standing next to you in the situation and necessarily know, you know, what you need to do. You know, it's your own history brought to this place, you know, with your own sort of psychological inflexibilities, you know, and sort of finding that spot, you know, where you can sort of press without injuring, without force, without coercion.
And with compassion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
These things just don't separate for me anymore. And I think the separation has been driven by, well, nothing that concerns me terribly.
Well, we have a story. I mean, our minds like to separate, but regarding the body and mind, actually, it's okay. I mean, Descartes had to separate the body and mind in order to deal with the church and say, well, okay, we take the body, you take the other part in the church, so we can start studying bodies. It was very functional then. I think this dualistic, mechanistic way to see it. It was allowing the medics to start studying bodies. But if we keep on thinking like this without changing, that's where we get stuck. But yeah, so...
Yeah, I mean, I think you're precisely right. When I say that there are a lot of reasons, I'm not sure that they all interest me. I mean, there's certainly some that do. I mean, I would not want to take away for a moment, and I know that there's a certain element out there that would like to sort of, you know, demonize, you know, everything about modernity. But, you know, I would always come back to, you know, 200 years ago, we buried half of our children before their 5th birthday. I don't want to go back very much.
No.
I want this world, this one right here, because I would rather solve the problems that are the result of us engineering a world that doesn't kill us before our 5th birthday. I would rather solve those problems. You know, like I would rather solve the problem of, you know, getting up out of my lounge chair than I would to solve the problem of my job, you know, causes a significant number of people to chop their foot off every year.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely.
Some problems are better than other problems. The lounge chair problem is better than the, you know, broken body problem, you know.
Yeah. And the thing is that this is more than solving problems. Is almost a kind of, I experience all this like a growing, like just getting to be a better human being is not only solving a problem, is really growing, flowering, how you say, blomstering, in being able to act what my heart once upon a time wanted me to be. More this kind of thing, like a personal, like a social little cell.
Well, I think, you know, on a broader scale, also, is that, you know, what human beings could be and could become was limited at certain times in our history because so many things in the world were so busy trying to kill us, you know, infections and injuries and enemies.
Ourselves.
Well, you know, even things as simple as human lifespan. It's hard to know about those things in a world where, you know, you're getting, you know, slaughtered by a lot of aspects of the world. We've tamed a lot of those. And I think that, you know, when you talk about this kind of flowering and development, you know, I really think that we are in a place where, some of this is about what can human beings become? What can we become? And I know that right now in particular, there's a lot of people who are very, very pessimistic about the world. And I get that there are some real dangers that are out there, but I am, I think that in as much as we stand at a place in history where we could, we have the capacity to kill ourselves off.
Yeah.
No humans in history have had.
Yeah.
We also have it completely and entirely within our grasp to create a world that allows us to be and become something that we've never been before. It has been really awesome talking to you, Gracie.
The same. It's like flying to a higher level of stimulation in all senses, heart and brain, and beautiful.